Today we're going to be talking about life-giving relationships, which is just one piece of relational wholeness. Just to give a subset, little definition, regularly, intentionally investing in relationships that are founded on trust and honesty that increase affection for Christ in the individual and the community. So to boil it down, it's like having real friends, having people that you trust, someone that you would want to spend time with, someone that you would want to be mentored by, or that you would be pouring into. Why is this such a big deal? Why are healthy relationships such a big deal? Well, Jesus, he gives us he gives us a command, and he also shares a cool idea with us in John 13:35. He said, "By this you'll know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." And as leaders and as Christians, we spend time preparing Bible studies. We spend time preparing sermons. We spend time, getting ready for the church barbecue, maybe making a meal for a friend. There's so many things that we focus and try to do well in our life. But Jesus said that the way that the way that people will know that we're his disciples is actually by the way that we love one another. I would have expected him to say, by the way that you love lost people. I would have expected him to say, by the way that you teach sound doctrine. He doesn't say those things. He doesn't say, by the way you serve the poor. But he actually says that they'll know that you're his disciples by the way you love one another. The way that my friend Eli Gotro says it, he says, what is going to take us all down is not theological issues, for we have minds in love with God. It won't be methodical issues, for our training and choices have been refined by years. Our death will be at the hands of a lack of love for one another. Jesus' greatest concern and what he told his disciples would be the way that they were known was the way not that they treated people outside, but actually by the way they treated each other. That's why it's so important to have relational wholeness, to have real friendships, because the world will look in to who we are and to the way that we treat each other, and will either say, I could just get that at home, or I've never seen a people like this. One of the competencies or one of the indicators is I have friends who love and trust me, that I trust to be truthful and straightforward. Just the other day, I lead a team, and just the other day, my friend Jordan just sent me a text, and it was something really simple. I planned an event on, I don't know if it was Memorial Day or something, and he just said, hey, next time, would you just give us more time out? If it's going to be a family day or it's going to be a staff day, would you just let us know ahead of time so that we can plan accordingly? Now, I'm in charge. I'm leading the team, and so then I can say, why don't you just be more flexible? But Jordan is flexible, and he has a good attitude, and he's a servant. And I have asked him to speak into my life. And so I had the opportunity to say, wow, thank you so much for telling me that. I'll try to think about that next time. We need friends. That's such a small little thing. But if they can speak into the small things in our life, then they'll be able to speak into the big things in our life. There's so many moral failures or just failures in general that probably never would have happened if there were friends involved. Think of David and Bathsheba. Do you think that Jonathan would have let David stay behind if he was still alive? Do you think that Nathan would have had to come and tell David and confront him if David had a close friend who could have just spoken to him in confidence? And it's the same in your life. Or you think about what happened with Ravi or Carl, or there's names that you could go on of, man, if this person had a friend that was holding them accountable, that they had let into their lives, things would have been different. Now the challenge is, if you want a friend, you need to be a friend. If you look at your life and you say, I don't have anybody like that, I don't have anybody to come tell me the truth, maybe you haven't made a culture that would allow that. Maybe you have been difficult to get close to. And if you want a friend, you do need to be a friend. It's something that you can initiate. If you look around and you say, I have no friends like that, you can change it right now. Another thing is that vulnerability begets vulnerability. If you want this relationship to start, if you want people to tell you the truth, to be honest with you, to hold you accountable, you have to create this culture. Ask them for help. Invite people to give you an evaluation or criticism. And when it happens and you think, wait, that's not what I meant, or that's not what I said, I want to challenge you, don't defend yourself. The Lord can defend you. Your character can defend you. You don't have to do it. And if you start to, it'll get weird. One of the next points is that you're forgiving and patient. And this is so key, to create a culture where people feel honest, or they can honestly speak to you. They can tell you the truth. They can even share with you some of the things that they know that you don't want to hear. And let me just say this. If someone is speaking to a leader, telling them something that they already think they don't want to hear, it could be nerve-wracking, all right? You're not walking into something saying, we're going to agree on this, but it's like, man, this leader thought about this and they did this and they really wanted it to go well, and I'm going to give some criticism. They've probably already worked themselves up to have this conversation. So as far as you, it's key that you're forgiving and patient, because you handling that well is what's going to show people if they can actually be honest with you or not. And I want to let you know, you will be hurt. Some people that are close to you are going to share things with you that you really need to hear. Some are going to share things that they could have just let go or could have given to God. But your job is to walk with the Lord, to be hurt, and to forgive and to keep going. Keep your ego in check. This will show people if they can be honest with you or not. One of the other points is that you actively pursue working together to help others succeed in life or ministry. This is a huge thing. It's not your kingdom, it's God's kingdom. I remember sitting in church and God asking me, do you want this other ministry to succeed? And I said, of course. And he said, do you want this other ministry to succeed if it means that their ministry is going to be bigger than yours? And I said, well, hold on. That's not, what is this question, And I wanted to say no. Now, obviously the answer was yes. And obviously the Holy Spirit was trying to say, Craig, this is not your kingdom. This is my kingdom. And if another ministry succeeding more than yours is a problem, then I think we need to ask the Lord for help. It's our job to be a servant. It's our job to ask other people for help. And a healthy leader knows that a rising tide raises all boats. It's not our kingdom, it's His. We choose to work closely with other leaders who provoke us to be more Christ-like and kingdom-minded. Look, you've heard it, you've preached it, you probably have it on a t-shirt somewhere. The way iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. You just simply were not made to be alone. No man is an island. When Jesus sent out His disciples, He sent them out 2 by 2. We don't just need an echo chamber. We don't just need more of our DNA over and over and over. But we need to be around other leaders who will provoke us to learn in ways that we don't naturally, who will bring in gifts that we don't have, and ideas that we wouldn't think of. The gospel is wholly expressed in community. And so one of the last points was that we pursue working closely with other kingdom-minded individuals. Get this, regardless of our differences in preference, politics, and culture. That's right. A healthy leader will intentionally work with people that have differences, different preferences, different politics, different culture. But what we hold in common is Jesus. What we hold in common is what can keep us together through anything. And E. Stanley Jones said it this way. He said, if we talk about what we believe, then we will be divided on every front. But if we talk about who we believe in, then we can all come together as Christians and we follow the person of Jesus. And actually, as we work with these people that have differences, as we disagree, if two passionate people get together, there will be conflict. And conflict, believe it or not, is actually a good thing if it's treated in a healthy way. Conflict means that people really care about what they say they care about, enough that they're willing to fight for it. Those are the kind of people that you want in church. Those are the kind of people that you want on your team doing ministry with you or serving with you. If there's no conflict, then people don't care, or they feel like they're not allowed to care, which is just as bad. But if passionate people together, there will be conflict, and that's a good thing. Diversity in politics and preference submitted to Jesus will actually prepare your team for success, and it will give a fuller picture of the gospel. Think about the disciples, all right? Jesus, it says that He chose them. They didn't just happen. He chose them. You have a zealot, you have a tax collector, you have fishermen, you have people from all different sides of the political and financial spectrum. Why would Jesus do that? Was He foolish? Was He laissez-faire? Was it just something that happened? No, He made a choice to pick people from all aspects of culture so that they could better describe who God is, that they could share who He is with the world. And if that's what we want to do, if that's what we exist to do, then we need to do the same thing. If we have a team, if we surround us with people that look like us, guess what? We're going to love every idea that they come up with because it's ours. It's our idea, and it's not going to work. But if we will surround ourselves with different people, and then what's crazier is listen to them. Man, I think that all my ideas are good. I don't know if you're the same way or not, but you probably are. But that doesn't mean that they are. They're just my ideas. And so having a team, Having people that will be honest, that will speak to me, that will tell the truth, and that will voice their opinions in a healthy way is huge for spreading the gospel. Lastly, how we do something is as important as what we do. We don't want to just do an event and do it in excellence, but we want to do it as a team. We want to do it in a way that honors God. And as a leader, part of this, having healthy relationships, Jesus was with his disciples until they became his friends. And he said, "I now call you friends." We want to minister in a way that we can invite people into our lives. They can see what God is doing with us, and then they can walk out and do the same thing. They'll never be able to do that if they're not close enough to observe what's happening. They can't go and do the same thing. Jesus' disciples couldn't have done it if they weren't around Jesus. But he kept them close, not because it was easy, not because it was comfortable, not because it felt good, but because it was absolutely necessary that they be in a healthy relationship with Jesus, intimate, close friendship, so that they could see what to do and they could take it to the world.